Hey everybody, Eric Schweitzer here for TheGamer. Today we're looking at Metaphor ReFantazio with Meg Policcio, and that was a lot of
Hello.
hard words to say.
I know. I'm glad you did it because I'm still not quite sure I'm getting the second word right.
Fantasio? I don't know. Does it make sense when you've played the game?
No.
No? Alright. Well, this is a new Atlas game from the creative minds behind Persona 3, 4, and 5. And I don't want to spend all the time talking about Persona, but we have to talk about it a little bit,
You've
right?
got to, yeah.
Yeah. So how Persona is Metaphor?
It's very Persona, but it's also it does stray from the Persona template. So
Mhm.
like a lot of it is just very similar to Persona. The sort of template of you have a deadline, and so it'll be like make sure you do this thing by this date, and then your time up to that you choose how you spend it. You can bond with followers. You can go and do something that will raise one of your stats and things like that, or optional dungeons. So that sort of thing is very similar. It's got the bond systems and all that, but then it does change. Like battle is very different because you have archetypes, not personas. So you're not summoning different demons of different stats. It's like a whole other system which I prefer, where it's like job roles. So you'll have a healer, you'll have a knight,
Mhm.
and then they each have like a lineage tree. So they'll change slightly. The mage becomes like a wizard and things like that, and then each one of those you can inherit skills from other archetypes you've learned. So it becomes really in depth of like you can
Mm.
really fine tune what you're doing, and I really enjoyed the battle a lot more as a result. Like obviously I love Persona, but I just
Yeah.
preferred this. But the best way I can describe it to people who haven't played is it's like the Dragon Age to Mass Effect. They're both very similar,
Right.
but they also are different in obviously a few ways.
Okay.
And yeah, so although Persona is not sci-fi, this is like the fancy equivalent of Persona, obviously,
Okay.
with some changes.
Kind of a sister series. I get it.
Yeah.
So what is Metaphor about?
So you start off, you're this young boy with your little fairy friend, and you're going to like the capital, and the king has just been killed. You know that it's like in the opening cutscene, you see the king get murdered. So straight away, you're like into the action. The king's just been killed, and you're going to meet your like accomplice in the city, and it's kind of fed to you a little bit slowly. You don't know straight away, but it's essentially like the king's son, the prince, is believed to be dead because someone attacked him many years ago, but he's actually just cursed, and you want to lift the curse even more so now that the king is dead. And so you're trying to figure out how to lift this curse. You think you can do it if you kill the person who cast the curse, who you believe is Louis, so that's who you're after, which he killed the king, and then you kind of, as you're going about trying to do this, and just you're trying to obviously save the prince and set him up as the next king, you have to enter this tournament of who becomes king,
Mm.
because obviously it wouldn't be Atlas game without something weird. So even though after the king dies, obviously all the big players, you've got like this like bishop dude, and you've got obviously the guy that killed him, and some other people who were like, I should be king. A giant rock face of the king appears in the sky, which is like the moon from Majora's Mask, and it's the dead king. He cast this weird royal magic, and he's decided that like he'll give it however many months, and it's like the Heroes' Day, like a holiday. On that day, whoever has the like support of the people the most will become king.
Okay.
And then obviously the different factions try to take control of this situation. So like the church devises this tournament plan where the first one is you have to like go and get the head of a great monster and things like that. Ultimately, wouldn't really affect things because the magic is whoever is supported the most, but
Mhm.
it's very political in that sense, and different things start happening, and Louis refuses to take part of the tournament at first, and yeah.
Yeah. Did you like it?
I
The direction
really
of the
liked
story?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
It
would.
sounds more grown up than Persona. I mean, not just literally, but also just kind of a more mature story.
Yeah, I would agree. Like obviously you are still a child, and funnily enough, I was talking about this earlier because I was like, we were talking about obviously the lack of romance. And I was
Mhm.
like, I'm not even sure if he's like of a sexually active age to be interested in that,
Right.
to be fair. But your traveling companions, many of them are adults. It is more mature, and you're dealing with some, darker issues and like the loss of children and abuse and things like that, as well as there's obviously a lot of political themes. There's a lot of racial themes because there's like 8 different
Mm.
tribes in the game, and some of them are really looked down upon. So it does tackle a lot in that kind of space. Yeah,
Cool. Romance, big part of Persona, not part of this game.
it's
Is
not
that
part of this game.
that's
I
gonna turn some people off, right?
I think it will. And in all honesty, I went into it kind of like, oh, I wish there was romance. And you meet the first character, and you're like, oh, he's cool. Could have romanced him. And then the more I played through it, the more I was like, you know what, romance just wouldn't have fitted. I mean, there's a young kid anyway. We don't want another Ken situation. I don't know how old the protagonist is, but let's not go there. And it wouldn't have added to the story whatsoever. It would have just been put in because fans wanted it if they had done it. And so actually, I think it's a good idea that they were like, you know what, it doesn't actually make the game better. Let's just cut it out.
Yeah. Big year for RPGs, JRPGs.
Massive year, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
has Game of the Year ever been so close? I think there's gonna be so many. Like, there's always so many games to pick from. But I don't know if it's ever gonna have been this close between so many titles.
Yeah, and especially with like a dragon stuff. It's a very mid-centric year.
Don't forget Dragon's Dogma 2. And then you obviously like Astrobot's a contender. And like
yeah. Where's this one sitting for you?
I mean, it's the only it's the second perfect score I've ever given.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's high. I left that game, like I finished playing it with the mindset of I now prefer that to Persona. I think the improvements it makes overall, I love the world better anyway, but like it's better paced. It fixes a lot of niggles about Persona of like getting locked out of rank up bonds because you didn't answer it right. That's not a thing here. But I don't think everyone will agree. I think there will now be a forever debate of which is better, Persona or Metaphor. But in fact, I think the fact we'll have that debate proves that they stand side by side with each other in quality.
You think
I
this is the
remember
start
if Persona
of
was Game of the Year. Was Persona 5 Game of the Year? Maybe not.
Do you think this is the start of a big, long series?
Yes. They would be stupid not to, because of how popular it is. But, like, narrative-wise and, like, how they left it, they could easily do more. And, they could do the Persona thing, where it's not even the same characters, but it's the same world.
Yeah.
Easily done.
Yeah, and then spin off to every other type of game, too. Do a tactics one.
Yeah. It's funny, because it's like, how far is this going to go? Because obviously, like, Persona like came from Shin Megami Tensei, and then didn't that come from like Devil Summoner, or is that the other way around? Like, there's already this weird chain of evolution, and how much further is it going to go?
Yeah, and this isn't any kind of like literal spin-off. It's just stylistically.
There are some links.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Anything else to touch on?
Oh, I would say play it at your own pace and enjoy it. It's a very, very long game. It's a very long game. And obviously not the best of thing to do when you have a deadline for a review. Towards the end, I did have to rush it a bit more. I still did all my rank up things, so I got to know everyone as they were, but when you're playing speedily, you're reading it quickly and then pressing to stop them talking, it's not as enjoyable. Play it in your own time.
For sure.
But yeah, very, very good game.
Nice. Okay, cool. Meg's full review will be linked down in the description. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and visit us at TheGamer.com. That's TheGamer, no spaces.